Think you need blazing sunlight to grow a thriving garden? Think again. Some of the most productive and delicious vegetables actually prefer the shade. In fact, too much direct sun can cause certain crops to wilt, turn bitter, or bolt before you ever get to harvest them. Today we're breaking down 10 vegetables that thrive without sunlight. And you might be surprised at just how many of your favorites grow best in those cool, shady corners of your yard. Starting with number 10, we have spinach. Spinach is one of the very best vegetables you can grow in the shade. In fact, it actually performs better when it's not blasted by sunlight all day. Too much heat causes spinach to bolt, which means it shoots up flowers and the leaves turn bitter almost overnight. But when you grow it in partial shade, spinach stays tender, sweet, and packed with nutrients like vitamins A, C, and K. Another big advantage: shade keeps the soil cooler and holds more moisture, which spinach absolutely loves. That means less watering for you and longer harvest windows before the plants fade. You can keep cutting the outer leaves while the plant keeps producing more, giving you a constant supply for salads, sautés, and even smoothies. If you've got a shady corner in your garden or even a container tucked away on the patio, spinach is the perfect crop to start with. At number 9 is lettuce. Lettuce and other leafy greens are surprisingly shade tolerant, and in many cases, they actually prefer it. Most varieties only need 3 to 4 hours of indirect light a day to thrive. In cooler, shady spots, the leaves stay crisp and tender instead of turning bitter the way they often do in full sun. This makes them a perfect option for gardeners working with small spaces, containers, or beds that only get dappled light through trees. You can mix and match different types, from butterhead to romaine to loose leaf, and enjoy a steady harvest all season long. The best part? With cut-and-come-again harvesting, you can pick leaves whenever you need them, and the plants will keep bouncing back with fresh growth. Next at number 8 we have kale. Kale is a powerhouse green that doesn't just tolerate shade, it thrives in it. While kale will grow in full sun, shady conditions actually make the leaves sweeter and more tender. The cooler environment slows down stress on the plant, which means it produces healthier leaves for a longer time. What makes kale especially valuable for gardeners is its resilience. It's hardy, pest-resistant, and one of the most nutrient-dense vegetables you can grow, packed with iron, calcium, and antioxidants. You can harvest the outer leaves regularly, and the plant will continue producing new ones for months. Even in partial shade, kale will stay lush and productive, making it one of the most reliable crops for any garden short on sunlight. Now at number 7, we have arugula. If you love a peppery kick in your salads, arugula is your shade-loving friend. This fast-growing green doesn't need much direct sunlight at all, and in fact, partial shade is what helps it taste its best. Too much sun can make the leaves overly spicy or cause the plant to bolt quickly, but in cooler, shadier conditions, arugula grows tender and mild, perfect for fresh eating. It's also one of the easiest crops to grow with a cut-and-come-again method. You can start harvesting baby leaves just a few weeks after planting, and the plants will keep producing. Because it grows so quickly, you can even sow multiple rounds throughout the season. A shady corner of your garden could easily give you a non-stop supply of fresh, flavorful arugula that most gardeners overlook. At number 6 we have Swiss chard. Swiss chard is one of those underrated vegetables that does incredibly well in partial shade. Unlike many crops, it doesn't need constant sunlight to thrive. In fact, a bit of shade helps the leaves stay vibrant, lush, and tender for much longer. Both the colorful stems and the broad leaves are edible, making it a two-in-one harvest that's as beautiful as it is useful. One of the best parts about chard is its long growing season. You can start harvesting outer leaves early, and the plant will keep producing more for months. Plus, with its rainbow stems, Swiss chard doubles as an ornamental plant, adding a pop of color to those darker corners of your garden. It's hardy, dependable, and an excellent choice if you want something that grows strong without demanding direct sun. Next at number 5 we have peas. Peas are a surprisingly shade-friendly crop that many gardeners overlook. While they'll grow in sunny spots, they often do even better with partial shade, especially as the temperatures rise. Too much direct heat can stress the vines and cause them to stop producing flowers early. In the shade, the soil stays cooler, and that means you'll enjoy a longer harvest window with more pods to pick. The bonus is that peas don't just feed you, they feed your garden too. As a legume, peas naturally add nitrogen back into the soil, improving it for whatever you plant next. This makes them a smart rotation crop that leaves your garden healthier than before. And because they're compact and easy to grow on trellises or in containers, peas fit neatly into small or shaded spaces where other vegetables might fail. Sweet, crisp, and soil-boosting, peas are one of the most rewarding vegetables to grow in low light. At number 4 we have radishes. Radishes are one of the fastest and easiest crops you can grow, and the good news is they don't need much sunlight at all. In fact, They grow surprisingly well in partial shade, where cooler soil keeps them from becoming tough or overly spicy. The roots stay crisp, mild, and perfect for slicing into salads or snacking fresh from the garden. Because radishes mature so quickly, often in just 3 to 4 weeks, they're an ideal crop to tuck into shady spaces between slower-growing plants. You can even plant them in succession for a steady supply all season long. Shade slows them down just enough to improve flavor while still giving you reliable harvests. For beginner gardeners, radishes are the perfect low-light confidence booster. Coming in at number 3, we have beets. Beets are another root vegetable that doesn't mind growing with less sun. While a bit of light helps the roots develop faster, beets are perfectly happy in partial shade, and they reward you with a double harvest: the sweet, earthy roots underground and the vitamin-rich leafy greens on top. Shade helps the roots stay tender instead of turning woody, and it keeps the leaves soft and flavorful for cooking. That means you're not just planting one crop, you're getting 2 reliable harvests from the same space. The roots can be roasted, juiced, or pickled, while the greens can be sautéed like spinach or tossed into soups and stews. Even in those tricky corners where other vegetables fail, beets remain a dependable, space-saving, and versatile choice for any garden. At number 2 are carrots. Carrots may surprise you as a shade-friendly crop. While they do grow faster in full sun, they can still produce healthy, sweet roots in partial shade. In fact, lower light often slows their growth just enough to develop better flavor and prevent the roots from splitting. The key is making sure the soil is loose, deep, and consistently moist so the roots have room to grow straight. Shade helps keep that soil cooler and damp for longer, reducing the risk of the carrots drying out or becoming woody. Even if your harvest takes a little longer, the payoff is crisp, tender carrots that taste sweeter than many grown in hot, sunny conditions. For gardeners with less than perfect light, carrots are a surprisingly reliable choice. Now for the final vegetable. At number 1 we have broccoli. Broccoli, along with other brassicas like cabbage and cauliflower, is a crop that actually prefers protection from the sun. These are cool-season vegetables, and too much direct heat causes them to bolt or produce small, loose heads. In partial shade, however, the growth slows just enough to form tighter, sturdier heads that are perfect for harvesting. The cooler environment also stretches out the season, giving you more time before the plants fade. Another big advantage of growing brassicas in shade is that they tend to be less stressed, which makes them less vulnerable to pests like aphids and cabbage worms. That means healthier plants and fewer headaches for you. Whether it's broccoli, cabbage, or cauliflower, these vegetables are some of the most reliable and nutrient-rich options for filling those low-light corners of your garden with food that's as hearty as it is delicious. So here's the big secret. Shade doesn't have to limit your garden, it can actually work in your favor. From tender greens like spinach and lettuce to hardy crops like carrots, peas, and broccoli, these 10 vegetables prove that even the shadiest spots can be incredibly productive. In fact, many of these plants stay sweeter, crisper, and healthier when they're protected from harsh sunlight. If you've been avoiding those darker corners of your yard, it's time to put them to work. With the right crops, you'll be amazed at how much food you can grow without direct sun. Which vegetable from this list are you most excited to try in your shade garden? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more practical gardening tips that make your garden thrive.